back to Bill's Retro Stuff. And today I'm going to take apart my Tandy 3100 Model 10. Brief little history of this computer here. This was one of the very last badged Tandy computers. It wasn't necessarily a Tandy. It was actually made by a company called AST when they bought them back in '93. Radio Shack decided to sell their Tandy line to AST, and AST decided to buy them back in, I think, around May of '93, and this came out around about the same time. So, actually, like I said, this is probably the very last Tandy badged products. They're unfortunately wasn't made by the Tandy Computer Company, but if you look around the internet, there's another model, and it must be pretty close to the same age as this. AST made an Advantage 486SX25P Model 173, and if you go online, you look at the pictures of those, you'll notice they look almost identical on the front and everything, except for the LED was sideways, and this panels here were like this here. So what we're planning on doing on this computer here, actually, to be truthful, I've already powered it up. I know it does not run. I think it's the power supply, but we will take a little bit more look at that. But I'm hoping we're going to do it in a couple, 2 or 3 or 4 parts. First, we're going to tear it all apart, and then we're going to clean it all up. I'll spare you cleaning the case and stuff. My case, what I normally do is I spray it down with some, I use alcohol to get some of the black stuff off that's on the top of it. I will also take it and give it a bath, a soap bath. There's a lot of black stuff from the monitor, who had the monitor sitting there for years. Taking a brief look inside when I tore it apart, I didn't necessarily tear it all apart, but when I took it apart to see about what I could upgrade in it. And we'll do a video on upgrading this to maybe a 486DX266 and maybe with 16 mega memory, and we'll even see about upgrading the video card. I have to see what video memory they use for that. Since there's really no manuals on this thing, unfortunately, I'll have to kind of pick and poke that one. But we'll take it apart, we'll clean it up. Like I said, I'll spray it from cleaning case. Usually I just take it upstairs and put it in with some soap and stuff, take alcohol, take the scuff marks off a little bit. I even use a few other things. I use windshield washer solvent, believe it or not, to clean the plastic, especially if it's, especially getting some of these grooves and some of these cracks. If I was really ambitious, and since we're in winter here right now, I would retrobrite it, and I learned that from the 8-bit guy, watching him. Actually, that's the first time I ever heard of that, because I was tooling around there and thinking, how can you clean these old cases? And he had a real good thing on that. Anyway, I think this computer here came out of a machine shop, because I can tell you from working in machine shop trades most of my life, I can tell by the type of dust that's in it that it come out of some type of shop. It didn't come out of a home. It doesn't have a dust. It has some weird stuff, and I'll show you some of that. So without ado, I guess I'll finish what I was saying. Anyway, so we're going to clean the case up. We're going to look at the power supply, see if we can fix it. If not, I've got power supplies, but I'm going to see if we can fix this one. I think personally it's a capacitor issue, because over time it would start doing some odd stuff, like the CD-ROM would start working, the fan, when I first powered on, the fan wouldn't come up, or the CD-ROM door wouldn't open. But then over time, if you let it run for like 5 or 10 minutes, things will start coming up. So we're going to check the capacitors. Because unfortunately, this is at that age, from 1999 to 2007 is really when the big capacitor problems started. But earlier you still had some capacitors, especially stuff that sits around heat sinks. They kind of like to dry out a little bit, and just they just leak in general. They are a liquid. Well, not a liquid. Well, I guess they're a liquid. But anyway, and then our final one, we'll put it all back together. Hopefully, we'll get the power supply working. We'll put it all back together, and hopefully we'll get it to work anyway, and we'll upgrade all the other stuff. So let's dig in. So first of all, on this computer there are 2 screws. There's one on this side here, and one on, of course, the other side over here. Those are the only 2 screws that I have found in this unit. So let's go ahead and see if we can go ahead and take that off. I'll slide my thing off. So let's go ahead and flip this around. Let's take the cover off. We'll do that real quick. Actually, I have a tool to do this, but I'll lay the screws. I've got to get me a little screw bin somewhere. And let's see, we'll take this other one off here. Alright. And this case here, this slides off its mount here. There we go, slides up, and it comes right off. So, which is funny. Now I'm going to lay this on down over here on the floor here. Now it's funny, this thing here is it's got a metal case and a metal case. And of course that's all FCC stuff back then. Later on I think we kind of got a little lax on the FCC stuff. But so basically this front cover just slides over and pulls up and then comes off the side over here. Actually get this up in the camera a bit. And so that's the front cover, and in the front it'll tell you how to do it. Little directions there. And lay this over here. And then this is the main door that covers the rest of it, so we'll pop it up. And it's funny here too as well. It on this, if the camera focuses in, it gives you the layout of the board and how to jumper it. And we'll clean all this up. So, and this is the inside of the computer. And for the most part, there is you've got your CD-ROM and your floppy drive, and the hard drive sits at the bottom. But if you kind of look inside this, you can see this dust. And this dust, well, you probably can't see it yet. So let's go ahead and take this card out of here first. Let's take the modem card, which I probably won't put back in because nobody really plays with modems anymore. So, and if you kind of look at the dust on this, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but that dust there is not, it's not a household dust. That's definitely from a factory. So we'll lay the card over here. This here is the sound card, which was kind of nice. They incorporated. I remember buying sound cards in the old days, and man, they were expensive. This here come with Sound Blaster 16. I don't necessarily know if, well, actually take it back. This did come with the Sound Blaster 16, so I can't say that it didn't, but it did. So we'll go ahead and pull the CD-ROM drive and the audio cable off. Again, as you can tell, it's got a it's not a household dust. Household dust is usually a little heavier. This is not as heavy. So I'm tending to think the way some of the coloration of all this is it's been in a factory somewhere. So there we go. We've got those two things taken out. There's the main CPU, a 486 SX. Let's see here. Right here. Well, you can't see it because of the bar, but there's the processor right here, the SX, and we're going to put DX2 in there if we can get it to work. That's for the, they made an overdrive where you can put DX266, or there's quite a few CPUs you can put in. This is your memory here, and this is the video memory, which I'm going to have to see what video memory it takes. So if anybody's watching the video and they know what kind of video memory it takes, I'll be more than happy to give it a shot. So alright, so let's see, we'll take this card thing here off because we know we're going to have to in order to get the, oh, hold on, maybe we don't, hold on. This, oh cool, that's cool. So the hard drives and the CD-ROMs and the floppy drive, they all come off in a single tray. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and pull all the cables for that. And the power supply. And we'll leave the audio cable on the ROM. Well, not tell you what, we'll just go ahead and pull it off. Okay. And we'll come up here and we'll pull the floppy cable off of the unit. And we'll go ahead and unplug the power. So there's that. So while we're here, we will take a look. It looks like everything unscrews from the bottom. There's the hard drive. I don't even know if the power is up because the power supply itself, I could not, unfortunately, get it to power up enough to see if this spins. So we'll test that. We'll put it on another power supply and see if it spins. So we'll go ahead and take the screws off. This should be a standard IDE. It's not, they used to make an XT IDE drive, which were not IDE drives. They were a different type of drive. A lot of the older Tandys use that. This here is in the 486 days, so they use a standard ID drive. So it is a, and I don't know if it works, but it is a, looks like a Caviar 1210. Let's see here, 212 megabyte, which is what this computer would have came with, a 212 meg. So this is the original drive. Whether or not it works, we don't know. We'll find out. If not, we'll replace it with a different drive. I'll lay that over here. The reason we're taking everything apart here is so that we can clean the whole system up. So we'll go ahead and take the hard CD-ROM out. CD-ROM has 2 screws here on the top, or 4, my fault, 2. And we'll lay the screws out of the way. Take that out. There we go. Okay, it wants to drop down, so we'll go ahead and do this next one here. Take that screw out. Catching a little bit of a cold, I do believe. Got the sniffles, so if you hear me sniffling, it's probably because I got a cold. So we'll take this apart here and see what we got here. Alright, we'll take the screw right over here. And now that's the CD-ROM. That's the CD-ROM out. And this is, you can tell it's made in 93, so whoever decided to buy this, this machine didn't come with this. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think so. Not this particular. They made another model, the MPC, and they made another model in between that, which has a little different configuration. I can do some of the history. So, but it's 1993, so it's about the same time. So either they had it put in, or they, oh well, they had to have it put in because this one doesn't have that thing. So, all right. So we'll take now. We'll take the 1.44 floppy out. And this will need a different screwdriver. It takes a number 1 and a number 2. Number 2's out. We'll clean all these up. We'll take all this, and normally I just take compressed air. I'll have to use canned air because if I use the compressor, it will be so loud we won't be able to hear anything. So, all right. So here's the plate, and we will. If I have to, I'm going to slide this camera back just a little bit here. There we go. So you can get a little better view there. So there's had the CD-ROM, the hard drive, and the floppy, and we'll clean that up. I'll lay this back here because we're going to clean that up. All right, there's the floppy drive, and it's got a little dirt in it. We'll blow it out and take the front case off and clean it. I probably won't do that on camera. I'll probably spare you guys that. Now we're going to pull this off, which holds the card edge up. So let's go ahead and pull that up, and this just pops right out of the case there, and we'll clean that up. Alright, and we'll take the riser board. This is the riser board for the 16-bit slots. And there that is. We're going to clean that up again. It's got a lot of dust here. We'll do an alcohol spray and a paintbrush, and we'll clean that up. We'll lay it over here with the cards. Alright, we'll go ahead now, while we're at it, we'll go ahead and we'll pull the floppy drive controller cable and the hard drive controller cable. And then of course this went to the sound card. Went to the sound card there. And that's already been done. And here's the power supply. We've got the speaker, then we've got this for the LED light going up over here. You can see the dust, and it's pretty crusty. It's got a lot of dust in it. Like I said, I think this was a machine shop. We'll check the battery while we're at it. So we'll screw ahead and we'll pull off these two power cables, of course, to the motherboard, because there ain't much there after that. So let's go ahead and flip this around. Well, actually, let's go first of all, before I go too crazy, let's go here and let's take the power switch off. So, because we have to have the power switch. Alrighty, let's see. That's the grounding strap. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to put these screws back onto the power supply. We'll go ahead and pull the switch off. The switch button. I'll lay it over there. We don't need that. And I'll pull that out. And then what I'll do is I'll put the screws back here so we know exactly where these screws here went. The other screws I'm not worried about because they're pretty standard. But when it comes to the case, I like to try to keep the case screws together. So we'll do that real quick. Actually, I think I'm off camera doing that up here on the top camera. I've got two cameras running, but we're going to see how we can do this. So anyway, so now the power supply is ready to come out. Now, the power supply has a few screws in it. It's got 4 here on, well actually, yeah, 4 here on the back. And 2 right up here on the top. 2 on the top. So let's go ahead. I'll switch back to my number 2 screwdriver. It's kind of odd not to sit in my chair to do this. Usually I sit in my chair when I tear this stuff apart. But we just ain't going to do that today. All standing. Which, believe it or not, I've had a long weekend, so I could probably, wouldn't hurt to stand a little bit. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and take the screws out. These 2 screws inside here out of here. And that should pull right out. So there's the power supply. And like I said, we'll take it apart and we'll see if it's just a little Aztec. It's a little 250 watt or somewhere. I seen that it was 250 watt. Oh, it's 145 watt. My fault. Ain't that something? 145 watts. So, but I don't have anything that small. We're not putting a 300 or so because I have those. We'll lay this over here out of our way. Now, so we can clean everything up properly. There's a little barcode. I don't know exactly where that went, but I'm thinking I'd have to look at the number. So now all we got left is the speaker up here. Well, the speaker, the motherboard has to. It looks like it has 1, 2, 3, 4 screws, and we'll replace the battery. So first of all, we'll go ahead and we'll unplug. I don't know if you can see it or not. Okay. Oh well. So we'll go ahead and unplug the speaker and the power LED. And we'll go ahead and we'll pull the screws. Nice thing is these are from the got the same size screws that the power supply has. So. Lay it down because this last screw, I don't want it to, don't want the motherboard to fall out. I already dropped the case. Pull that out. Motherboard should pull straight out. There it is. A little, almost like an I/O shield there. We'll take it out so you can clean it up. But there's the motherboard. I feel like it's in pretty good shape. So we'll take a look at that. Yeah, here in a bit. We'll clean it all up. So, so we'll lay the motherboard. A lot of people will give me grief for it, but I'll lay it on some cardboard here, and I'll lay it up out of the way so we don't get it damaged. Alright, a few other things I've got left to do before I can clean it up. We'll go ahead and pop the speaker out. So let's see how the speaker, alright, let's look at the speaker thing here. Twists, twists. Yep, twist and it comes out. Okay, so there's a sticker. We'll get that here in a minute. That was the shield. Some type of spring shield. So let me go get that real quick. And there it is. And that goes back up in here where it belongs. Must have went down in there to keep the. Don't know what that's all about, but it goes right there. So there it is. I'm going to lay that over so we can clean it. The next thing I want to do is the LED, power LED. And we'll go ahead and we'll just pull the tape. It's a heavy tape. We'll just re-tape it. So we'll just trash it. It's still sticky, believe it or not, after all this time. And let's see what we got here. We'll go ahead and pull. There it is. Pull that out, and then we'll pull the holder for it. We'll put it back into there for right now. And we'll lay it there. And there we go. We've got it all apart and ready to clean. So that will be my next project. I'll clean it up. So that's it on tearing down my Tandy. As you can tell, it is the model 3100 Model 10. This, for the other camera there, 3100 Model 10. Alright, well, that's it for at least the tearing apart part, which usually isn't that hard to do. Always put it together is always a trickier, but it's not. Once you've teared a few of this stuff down, oh, you know what? I actually almost forgot something here, didn't I? Look at that. I didn't even see it. Well, I did see it, but this here, let's see how this comes out. This here, I don't know. It slides over. So we push this pin here over, and that just slides out. There we go. There we go. For the cards. All right. There we go. So now we've got a clean case, and we have all of our stuff over here that we'll have to clean up and strip down. Power supply will definitely work on it a little bit. Well, like I said, that's it for our teardown. Now it's time to clean her up, and we'll do that in the next video. Thanks for watching.